Hello, and thanks for joining me for Summer with Second Samuel. Today is Friday, June 11th, and this is Second Samuel chapter 11. This is the story we knew was coming. So it's springtime, and it's really the time for kings to set their sights on warring and marauding and raiding and just really rattling the sabers. So David's armies are out doing just that. However, David stayed home in Jerusalem. And one night, he wakes up from his nap one afternoon, and he goes out on his rooftop and he looks upon the city of Jerusalem. And he sees a woman bathing, and she's very beautiful. So he says to his servant, "Go and find me this woman and bring her back to me." So he does that. Finds out that her name is Bathsheba. She's bathing on the roof. That's what she does because her name is Bathsheba. Her name is Bathsheba. She is the wife of Uriah the Hittite. Oh, wait a second. David, you can have as many wives as you want, but you can't have somebody else's wife unless they're dead. Remember Nahor, Abigail? So David sleeps with Bathsheba, and she becomes pregnant. So what does David do? Well, he has to get Uriah the Hittite, the husband, who, of course, is a warrior in David's army. He has to get him to come home and sleep with his wife so it makes it look like it's his child. So David asks for Uriah the Hittite to come be with him at his palace. He says, "You've done a good job, Uriah. We want you to go home and enjoy yourself and, wash your feet." That's what he says. Go home and wash your feet. And Uriah refuses. And David asks him why. And he says, "Well, Joab, remember him, this is the general, they're out in the field fighting the Ammonites. The Ark of the Covenant is in a tent. And I would think I'm so special that I am able to go home and eat at my table and sleep in my bed and lie with my wife. No, no, no. I am committed to this campaign. I am a soldier in this army. I am going to sleep outside the door of the king's palace." And that's what he does. They even get him drunk and see if he'll go up to his house, but he doesn't. He doesn't do anything. And so there's only one other solution. He goes back to the front with a little letter for Joab, the general. A letter from King David that says, "Please put Uriah the Hittite out in the front and fall back so that he will be killed." And that's basically what happens. I mean, Uriah the Hittite is then killed in battle with Joab and the army. They get very close to the wall where the best archers are, or the best fighters, and they shouldn't have been doing that because it's not good strategy, but they did that. So Uriah the Hittite dies. And after the period of mourning, Bathsheba, his widow, comes to the palace and becomes David's wife and bears him a son. David. Nefarious acts of David. And I think, this is the more familiar story. It's the one that made it into the Leonard Cohen song. It shows the flawed nature of power and influence and fame. It also shows, I'm sure that some people would think it would be romantic or something like that. But I really think the Bible gets telenovela style, right? There's subterfuge going on here. Okay, well, I kind of just wanted to enjoy myself with this one lady. And now I have this child coming, and it's infidelity and it's adultery, and there's like a commandment against that. So, to solve this problem, I'll just invite him off the field and he'll come home, sleep with his wife, and then he'll think that's the child's father. I mean, that was the original plan. And when Uriah the Hittite is so much of a goody two shoes that he will not go along with it, then they have to kill him. It is soap opera city over here. Man, I am disappointed in King David. But you know what? We've all done things that are disappointing. And we've all taken it too far, too. I mean, there are times when the thing we did that was bad was bad. And then to cover it up, we did worse things. So, I skipped my workout and I felt so bad that I ate a Snickers bar. Now, you may not think that that is an unethical thing to do. And you may not be able to say, oh, you're shame on you. But this is the thing. The body is a temple. And instead of skipping my workout and trying to eat healthy because I'm not going to be burning any calories, I just covered it up with something else. Now, this is based on emotions and not on logical thinking. And I really think that David falls into that category of impulse control in this point. He's impulse control. And then he tries to cover it up. And it's just like any politician anywhere that tries to make things look differently than they actually are, it's always going to come back to bite you. So, I guess I identify with David here in this regard. I mean, we think about other characters in the Bible that we can also identify with, like Peter, who denied Jesus, and yet Jesus made him the rock on which he would build his church. But he denied him. None of the other disciples did anything that rotten, save Judas, who betrayed him, granted. But then he honors him with this building the church on him. You know, it's so good to have relatable characters in the Bible. So that's what I didn't understand, how the church gets this image that anyone who is a Christian or a person who professes faith, not even just Christian faith, is this squeaky clean, morally superior individual. That whole positioning, it lacks grace, it lacks invitation, it lacks joy. No, the man after God's own heart was a flawed individual. And he needs as much grace as the rest of us do. So enjoy your Snickers and say your prayers.